Welcome, deep divers. We all face moments, right? Times of profound loss, maybe deep confusion, or crises that just seem overwhelming. It could be personal or something happening in the wider community. And you ask, how do we get through that? How do we hold on to, well, hope or even trust? Today, we're jumping into an ancient text, Psalm 79. It's this incredibly raw expression of suffering, but also, surprisingly, of faith. It might just hold some powerful insights from navigating our lives today. Okay, let's unpack this.
And Psalm 79, it really sets a stark scene. It's generally understood to be a lament from the people of Israel, likely attributed to Asaph, a key spiritual figure. They're facing total destruction, humiliation, think Babylonian invasion, Jerusalem falling. But it's more than history. It's like a window into how a community grapples with the unbearable. And you're right, it has surprising relevance for how we build trust, maybe even deepen our relationship with God, even now.
It paints a really tough picture right from the start. Foreign nations invading God's inheritance, which means his people, his land, the holy temple defiled, Jerusalem in ruins, heaps of rubble.
And that temple, for them, wasn't just a building. It was like the symbol of God's actual presence, its destruction. That was a theological earthquake. It challenged everything they believed about God's protection.
Yeah, you feel the depth of that violation in the opening verses. It's not just physical loss, it's spiritual, communal. And the detail is gruesome, isn't it? Dead bodies left unburied, food for birds and animals.
In that culture, leaving a body unburied was the ultimate dishonor, a final contempt. It screams disgrace.
And then verse 4 hits hard. We are become a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and derision, that public shame being ridiculed.
Exactly. Imagine that weight, seen as abandoned by your own God.
And their response, it's pretty direct, almost confrontational with God. Verses 5 to 7, they cry out, "How long, Lord, wilt thou be angry forever? Shall thy jealousy burn like fire?"
It feels bold, doesn't it? Maybe even pushes the boundaries of respect for some.
Yeah, it raises the question, is this healthy faith or faith breaking down?
Well, they're questioning God's timing, his anchor, directly. And then they ask him to turn that wrath onto the nations who attacked them, the ones who devoured Jacob.
Jacob meaning Israel, right?
Yes, a foundational name for the people.
Yeah.
But here's where things take a really important turn. After describing all this devastation, they shift. It becomes this urgent plea for mercy, forgiveness, deliverance.
Right. Verses 8 and 9. Oh, remember not against us former iniquities. Let thy tender mercies speedily prevent us, for we are brought very low.
They acknowledge their own failings, the former iniquities. So it's not just blaming God or others. There's a turn inward, a contrition.
But the reason they ask for help is fascinating. Help us, O God of our salvation, for the glory of thy name, for thy name's sake.
Exactly. And verse 10 hammers it home. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is their God?
The heathen being the surrounding nations.
Yes, those who didn't worship Israel's God. The psalmist is basically saying, God, act, not just for us, but for your own reputation. If you let us be destroyed, what will the world think of you? They'll question your power, your very existence. It's an appeal to God's honor.
Wow. So their deliverance is tied up with God's glory on the world stage.
Precisely. It's a profound link.
And then, after all that raw pain and pleading, the ending, verse 13, it feels like it comes out of nowhere, almost.
It is surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we, thy people, and sheep of thy pasture, will give thee thanks forever. We will show forth thy praise to all generations.
A vow of praise after everything.
Yes, it's not denial. It's this incredible act of spiritual resilience. It's choosing to declare trust, believing God will restore even from the ashes.
Okay, so this psalm, this journey from agony to praise, it offers some real wisdom for us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We can pull out maybe 5 core insights that are just timeless. First, lament is part of faith. Crying out, being angry, confused, despairing to God. That's not weakness. It's actually deep trust. You believe he can handle your real feelings.
Right. It validates our humanity. It's okay to not be okay and to bring that to God.
Exactly. Second, it hints that collective sin can have consequences. The suffering is communal, linked to turning from God. It speaks to accountability, maybe a call for communal reflection.
Okay, what's third?
Third, God's reputation matters. The appeal to God's honor shows our lives, our fate, reflect on him and the world, how we live, suffer, respond. It all says something.
That's a heavy thought. Our lives tied to his glory.
It is. Fourth, justice belongs to God. They ask for vengeance, but ultimately the psalm leaves it in God's hands. It's releasing that need for personal revenge, trusting his ultimate justice.
A kind of surrender, in a way.
A deep surrender, yes. And finally, fifth, hope survives destruction. That ending promise of praise shows faith can endure even utter devastation. It looks beyond the present pain.
Okay, those are powerful. But the big question is, how does this ancient stuff actually help us, today? How does it strengthen our trust, our relationship with God now?
Great question. And I think it connects very directly. Let's take our own personal or communal crises. Psalm 79 gives us permission, actually encourages us to be brutally honest with God. Bring the anger, the sorrow, the confusion, that authenticity. Doesn't break the relationship. It builds a stronger, more honest trust. Because you're showing you believe God is big enough for your reality.
So instead of putting on a brave face when you're falling apart inside.
You lay it bare. You trust him with the mess. That builds intimacy, resilience.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Well, think about our global perspective and ethical living. The psalm links faith and justice, right? Appealing for God's reputation. It encourages us to think about how our actions, our response to injustice in the world reflect on God's name. Crying out against oppression, like the psalmist did, isn't just political, it's spiritual. It affirms our reliance on God's ultimate justice when we see suffering or war.
So our daily choices, how we treat people, how we engage with world issues, they have a spiritual dimension related to God's honor.
Absolutely. It challenges us to live with integrity, knowing our lives are a testimony, for better or worse.
Then the last point, about resilience.
Right, spiritual resilience. That final vow of praise in Psalm 79, that's key. We can choose thanksgiving and praise even when life is shattered. It's not about ignoring the pain, not at all. It's a deliberate act of faith. It's saying, even now, I trust your mercy is bigger than this destruction. I believe you will restore.
So praise becomes an act of defiance against despair.
Beautifully put, yes. It's an act of resilience that strengthens our bond with God, affirming our belief in his ultimate goodness and power, even when we can't see it clearly. Maybe it's just finding one small thing to be grateful for in a dark day. That's clinging to praise.
Oh, wow. Okay, so pulling it all together, Psalm 79 really models this path. Lament honestly, seek God's mercy, trust his justice, even find a way to praise amidst devastation, and embracing that whole spectrum, the pain, the pleading, the trust, the praise, that's what can really deepen our connection with the divine.
It truly can. The power of this psalm is its honesty. It gives us a roadmap for navigating the absolute worst times with faith, not in spite of them. It shows that honesty builds stronger trust.
Yeah, a trust that's maybe tested, but ultimately more resilient because it's real.
Precisely. The journey of faith isn't about dodging pain. It's about how we walk through it, constantly turning back to God with our whole honest heart, trusting his mercy and justice hold fast, even when our world feels like it's falling apart.
So as we wrap up, the question really becomes personal, doesn't it? Having explored this raw honesty, this ancient wisdom from Psalm 79, how will you apply this in your own life to strengthen your trust and your relationship with God?